Yeah, it's obviously an extraordinary occasion. It's a day of great pride for our club that we get to be a part of, what is this year, the 28th ANZAC Day game. And we just pinch ourselves, the team that we get to run out there, with the Essendon boys and pay tribute to the ANZACs through a shared banner. It's a really special gesture. And we're really grateful for the opportunity to be out there on the MCG in front of, 90 plus thousand doing our thing so early in the season, playing in what really feels like a blockbuster.
You've played in a few, so what's it like being out there?
Yeah, it's extraordinary. I think the main thing now, I've played in a few that, like I said, so early in the season, playing in a game that feels like it has so much riding on it, even though it's still early in the season and teams are still very much finding their feet in terms of their form and their game plans and their systems. So for such an early round to have such a big feel and a big build-up makes it feel extra special for sure. And then, we don't need to look any further than this week that, both teams in the top four and had a great start to the season. So it's definitely when that ball gets bounced, it's going to be on, which is exciting for the fans.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a different 24 hours. Obviously, we would have liked the result last night to go our way and have Zach be sitting here instead of myself today. He's going to be sorely missed on Tuesday and would love to be running out behind him. But I guess next man up mentality at our football club at the moment, and I'll fill his role and he'll be helping us from the sidelines. But yeah, it's disappointing to not have him sitting here today. Yeah, he's a class act, Zach. He was realistic. He understood that there was a chance that he'd miss the game, and we're aware now as players, and we're getting further clarification on what we can and can't do in tackles. And obviously he's disappointed, but he came in today, trained really well, and you wouldn't know. Zach's the kind of guy that gets on with his business and finds a way to make himself and the guys around him better. So he was awesome today. You wouldn't know that he was extremely disappointed last night. I think that all the players would love clarification. I think we play a game that's so random and chaotic at times, and when you're not exactly sure on what's allowed and what's not allowed, there's been a lot of cases in the last few weeks of players getting done for similar incidents. So it'd be great to get a little bit of clarification, and I think as the cases are going, we're sort of figuring out what's fair, what's not fair, and what's being permitted. But a little bit of clarification would be awesome.
Yeah, I suppose it's certainly a conversation worth having. I think from an industry point of view, the tribunal is an effective way for the AFL to communicate what is a priority and what is and isn't okay. And in these cases, the AFL have done that. So you could say it's effective in that regard because there are players are watching and see the result, and you sort of have no choice but to change your behaviour to some respect. Whether we go as far as training it, I'm not so sure, but I think these changes happen over time as well. Like you look back on footage of the game from 5 years ago, and there are things that happen that are far less common now than back then. So I think maybe we're caught in one of those periods where a sling tackle is slowly being phased out of the game. So there's certainly no one answer to it, but I think we're just trying to find the best way to strike the balance between being a physical game that's tough to play, but also, giving due attention to the problem of players getting concussions and the ramifications of that. Yeah, it was an extraordinary ceremony. It was a really moving night. At Victoria Park, such a famous venue for our club, for so many great reasons. And then last night, remembering a really tragic part of our history. It was really, really moving to see, Nicky Winmar draw such an extraordinary crowd. I think that speaks volumes to his legacy. And, to see him and his people practicing their culture, at the very stadium where he was experienced so much pain and trauma 30 years ago, was really powerful. And I think it's something I'll never forget for sure. Yeah, he was one of many past players that turned out last night, which I think once again speaks volumes to the impact and the legacy of Nicky Winmar, that so many players from all different walks of life wanted to be there and show solidarity with him. So that was really pleasing and really extraordinary, and there was a great turnout, and it felt really, really incredible to connect with so many different people in what was a moving night. No, I'm not across the details of that. Not really across the details of that either. No, we've obviously, the coach has been pretty open about wanting to be flexible and having an open mind with it. We've tried a few things over the first couple of weeks. And I suppose the pleasing part is we do have options. And I think Billy, obviously performed pretty well there last week for 4 quarters. Obviously it changes the mix of our backline, which is something we have to deal with. So not exactly sure which avenue we're going to go down. I'm not sure the match committee even knows yet, but the pleasing thing is, the last 8 quarters of footy, we've tried a few different things, and I'm sure we'll have a few things up our sleeve for the big game. Yeah, I think he's certainly in a position to come in. Obviously, spent a few months in rehab with his shoulder injury, so it's always takes a little bit of time to get match practice. But he's a super competitive player, and he's played like it on the weekend at VFL level. So he's definitely someone who won't care what position he's in. If he's asked to play in the ruck, he'll come in and do his job for sure.
Yeah, we're very excited about the opportunity to play a great side in Melbourne and another one in Collingwood in a couple of days' time. But Brad basically said it in that manner. He said it's an awesome opportunity to see where we're at. We've played, so to that point, we played teams that hadn't played finals in the year before, and we were really stoked about the chance to play Melbourne at a neutral ground in front of a great crowd and see where we're at. And I guess either way, we learnt a lot from that game. We learnt what worked against a really good team and what didn't work. And despite the result, there's still a lot that we're not doing really, really well. But it's pleasing to see that our game's stacking up against some of the best teams in the comp. And I guess it's good proof for our younger list that what we're doing is working, and we're on this journey together. We haven't spoken about Collingwood too much yet. The beauty of this week is that we get a little bit longer to prepare, but I'm sure there'll be something. He's a superstar player, and he's in great form.
Darcy obviously came back into the side on the weekend. Just wondering, can you talk a little bit about, I guess, how he settled back in and what, I guess, he meant to the team over the week?
Yeah, he's obviously had to work pretty hard over the last few months to earn his spot back in the team, and he's done that. He's trained really well, and he's got his body super fit and in great condition. Obviously having a little bit of an extended preseason in the end. So yeah, he's feeling great, really fit, and is ready to play AFL footy. It was awesome to have him back in the team. He's a really popular teammate, and we saw a bit of his trademark finishing ability, early in the last quarter, kicking that beautiful snap, which really set up a real run of scores for us, which I think it shows, the impact he has on our team. He really gets us going and lights us up in many ways. So he's a fantastic addition. But we've seen a lot of change in our forward line already in the first month of the season, and we have different avenues to goal, and we're excited to see those guys how they can work together.
It was this game last year where he really sort of took the footy world by storm, didn't he? I guess probably a twofold question really to that one. Your recollections of his game that day, he really took it by the scruff of the neck. And I guess even just talking about the last few weeks, have you noticed a change in him? Is it as simple as that?
Yeah, I think we saw, on this game last year, we saw, we certainly saw his arrival in the AFL. It's obviously a big game with lots of eyes on it. On ANZAC Day, it's one of the biggest stages of the year, and he was able to perform and was pretty sensational and walked away with the medal. So I don't think anyone's going to forget that anytime soon. Since then he's played in 3 finals. We've played in big games ourselves, and we've taken some some big scalps, and in many ways as a team proved our legitimacy as premiership contenders towards the end of last season. So we've certainly come a long way since that game. So Jack's a little bit emblematic of that. And in the last, to answer your other question, the last 4 to 6 weeks, he's just really committed to his training, and we're a pretty close connected team, and he's really invested in that, and that's been really obvious, and that's the most pleasing part. And I think we saw that when you saw all the guys celebrating his goal on the weekend. It shows that he has a big impact on the group, and it means a lot to us to have him out there with us.
And Darcy spoke about Collingwood ruck situation. Have you been a little bit surprised about yours and how well they're going, I guess, in the absence of Peter Wright and playing the role they have?
Yeah, Sam and Andrew had a great game on the weekend. They had a real challenge going up against a quality ruckman in Brodie Grundy, and Brad sort of put it to him a little bit about the opportunity they had to work him over with 2 against 1, and just the way they've worked in synergy and freed each other up to go forward in particular, and get on the scoreboard has been massive for us, especially with our main key forward and Peter Wright being out for a little while. So they've given us another option up forward, and have really helped with our small forwards bringing the ball to the ground. They rarely get outmarked, but just their competitiveness, both of them, and their willingness to do anything for the team has been a standout, and they were 2 of our best on the weekend, and we're hoping they have another really good game against the Pies. I'm sure it'll be talked about, and I'm sure they'll be planning for it as well, but I can't see the 2 ruck situation changing from now until Tuesday, but especially considering how well they both played. But it'll be something in our opposition preview that look to target and see how we come out on Tuesday.
It's just on Nick Dacos' enormous expectation. Does that bother him, or does he just take it in stride?
Yeah, he's obviously made a great start to the season, and he's a really, really resilient and capable and really confident young man. I think we see that on the field when he crosses the white line, that he's not afraid to just bring his strengths. So yeah, it doesn't really faze him, to be honest.
And on your backline, Darcy, you're losing Nathan Murphy on the weekend. You've lost Jeremy Howe. You've lost Billy Frampton to the ruck. At what point, is there a tipping point with losing key tools out of your team?
We are really confident in what we do as a defensive system. That probably sounds a little bit cliche, but honestly, it's a really even contribution when we're playing our best footy. So we really think we're in a great position to bring guys in who have had excellent pre-seasons, who are in really good VFL form, know their stuff inside out. They know the roles that we expect of them, and they really light up the training track for us. The fans and you guys probably don't see them out in the AFL, wearing the jumper as often, but we're really excited to give some of those guys an opportunity. So that's one of the things that you learn when you have change in your team. Obviously, it's not ideal. You want your best 22 out there for big games against the good sides, but we're going to have to find a way. And to be honest, the coach and the senior players and the whole team, we have a really open, flexible mindset, and we're going to embrace this challenge for sure. There's going to be a lot of change in the back line, but we're ready to embrace it. Yeah, I think, the main thing was, he reached out to Nathan personally and apologised for what he did. And he's a young player. He made a mistake on the field, and he'll learn from it. And, he's got a sanction. So, I think the main thing, speaking of Murph, was that, he received an apology. And, that's really the main thing from his perspective.
Yeah, I think you always do look at the competition and the teams that have been able to put it together really quickly. And obviously our last few years have been a bit turbulent, and we haven't performed to the level that our fans expect and we expect. But it's a hard season, and although we're sitting here 4 wins, 1 loss, coming into a really big game, each week is a new challenge. And we're realistic that we're still far off our best football. And although we are playing really well in patches, we're not a complete team by any means. And we're like every other team. I think Darcy said it earlier that teams are still figuring out stuff. It's very early in the season. There's a lot of water to go under the bridge, and we're no different. We're trying to improve and get better every week. And Brad's been really, really firm on that regardless of results, we come in Monday and we get better. we learn from the weekend's game, whether it's a win, loss, or draw, and we get back to work.
The biggest ANZAC game you've both played in, given where the teams are at, Collingwood team?
I don't know. Nathan Buckley used to always say that your most important game is the next game. So I suppose according to him, yes. It certainly feels like it. I mean, both teams are in the top 4 and have started the season really well. And, neither of us have finished products by round 6. So, we've got a lot of improvement in us. But, it certainly feels like a big game for sure. And I think, it's already sold out. So I think that's a pretty good indicator.
Yeah, I guess like Darcy said, it's the first time in a while that we've both been sort of at the pointy end of the ladder coming into this game. But having said that, regardless of where either team is on the ladder, I think these games are always close. We always find a way to make it entertaining, and it usually comes down to the wire. So I think it'll be no different on Tuesday afternoon, and both teams will put up a great fight and do the ANZACs proud on Tuesday.
Both teams obviously do a fantastic job of commemorating the occasion. Does having the fact that the game's not until Tuesday afternoon, does that give you a little bit more time to maybe do a little bit more of that? Is there anything you plan?
Yeah, absolutely. Having a longer week, a few extra days makes a big difference in that regard. And like I said at the start, this is an opportunity that only 2 teams in the league have. So we'd be stupid to sort of pretend like it's any other game, because to us it's not. And we have a really special opportunity to show our support to returned servicemen and women for all around the country and raise money and funds for the ANZAC appeal, which do such important work for RSLs all around the country. So, we really educate ourselves about that, about what the broader impact of this game and the significance that it has to this country. And we've got a lot of new players that haven't played in an ANZAC day before, so we always make sure that I suppose we do our due diligence a little bit in educating them around the significance of this game for the country.
Yeah, very similar to Darcy. Our club understands the importance of the day, and we feel very lucky and honoured to play on such an amazing day for our country. And on Thursday, I think all our new players in the football club will go to the Shrine and participate in an experience there, which we all remember. Did it quite a few years ago now. But we also have 6 past players that served in Vietnam coming to speak to us early next week. So, again, like Darcy said, it's an awesome build-up. It's a little bit different to your normal game because it's more than football. We're playing for something greater than ourselves and the AFL season. But we're looking forward to doing them all proud and celebrating in the right way on Tuesday.